Howdy and hello everyone, and welcome to 5008 Trackside, a series where I look into a rail service while showing you footage of it in action. Today's episode is the first in a little mini-series where I'll be looking at every commuter rail in North America. Today we're looking at WeGo Star, Nashville, Tennessee's commuter rail, which has been frequently dubbed America's worst commuter rail, and we'll see if there's any true way to fix it. So let's get started. Special thanks to Amtrak and AWVR Fan and Kits for the footage and photos they provided for this video. If you would like to be the part of an upcoming commuter rail video, then email ray50082306@gmail.com with either a Google Drive folder or raw footage of the commuter rail you have. I'm actively looking for footage of the following commuter rails listed on screen. Our first shot takes us to Lebanon, Tennessee, the service's eastern terminus. Here we see a WeGo Star train departing from the station after making the roughly hour journey from Nashville. This train is headed to the WeGo Star maintenance facility and has ex-Amtrak locomotive 381 at the lead. 381 is special as, up until 2022, it wore this scheme, a Pacific Surfliner scheme. 381 was repainted from around 2000 to 2001 for the renaming of the San Diegan to Surfliner. Ironically, 381 was retired from service only a year later in 2002 with the rest of Amtrak's F40PH locomotives. The operators of WeGo Star, then Music City Star, RTA, acquired 381 along with 3 other F40PHs from Amtrak to begin service, which brings us to the first bit of history regarding WeGo Star. It began as a way to fix traffic in Nashville, like many other commuter rails, but the authorities in the area wanted to spend as little money on it as possible. They did this by first buying 0 original equipment, utilizing ex-Amtrak locomotives from the 70s and gallery coaches also from the 70s, but at their oldest, the 50s. The other way of cheaping out on the service was having the entire service run on freight-owned shortline trackage, said shortline being the Nashville and Eastern Railroad. RTA planned to give this service as many as 6 lines, creating a star around Nashville, all utilizing freight-owned trackage. However, this never ended up happening. Next up, we actually head east of the service's terminus closer to the maintenance facility to see yet another train headed in for the night, this train having locomotive 122 at the lead. Speaking of WeGo Star's yard, the rail yard for the service isn't even exclusive to WeGo Star. It consists of 2 small green buildings for maintenance, a handful of tracks, and a set of equipment for WeGo Star and the Nashville and Eastern Railroad. This further emphasizes how cheaply made WeGo Star was. The local authorities didn't even want to fund the service to get its own yard. Next up, we stay in around the same area for an inbound train, this one being led by Gallery Car 790. WeGo Star was less of an actual service and more of an experiment to see how cheap a city can make a commuter rail for. But this is practically impossible. WeGo Star had significantly underperforming ridership in its first few years, and unfortunately, never truly reached expectations. It was expected to hit 700 daily riders in its first year, which, compared to other commuter rails with similar operations such as Ace and West Coast Express, is insanely low. Yet WeGo Star never managed to hit that level, with it reaching a high of 581 average riders in 2018, with its all-time low being 69 nice riders in 2021 due to the pandemic. Because of this low ridership, the service almost had to cease operations only 3 years after starting due to financial difficulties, which were fixed by the state of Tennessee providing the service $4.4 million. Next up, we head to one of WeGo Star's better looking stations, Mount Juliet, where we'll be seeing a handful of trains. First up is an inbound train with cab car 790 again. Now we head over to the railroad crossing near the station for another inbound train, this one with cab car 795 at the lead with a squeaky K5LA. Next up, it's back to the platform for an inbound train, this one with Loco 121 at the lead. And now the final train we'll be seeing here at Mount Juliet is another inbound train, with, yet again, cab car 790 at the lead. WeGo Star's underperformance is really not that surprising, and the fact that it never met its ridership goals shows that those who planned out the service either didn't understand or simply ignored how a good rail system works. WeGo Star uses old equipment that isn't modern, runs on single-tracked, winding, low-speed freight-owned right-of-way, causing the service to take twice as long as driving. While it isn't entirely commuter-focused, it runs only 12 trains per day, with 6 in the morning and 6 in the afternoon, and the real kicker that not enough people mention is how the stations are in such low density and borderline barren areas. Now let's continue our journey west, with this now being at Hermitage Station, where we see 2 trains, one outbound and one inbound. First up is an outbound train with Loco 122 at the lead. One cool fact about WeGo's F40s is that since they're all ex-Amtrak, who bought the original F40s, they still have the original F40 design, where the HEP is powered by the main prime mover. This leads to their engines always being at a high RPM, which gained the F40s the name Screamers by railroads. You can hear this screaming when one of these F40s is at a stop, and yet still sounds like it's moving. Next up is an inbound train with cab car 795 at the lead. For those unfamiliar, when I say density, I mean the amount of living spaces or jobs in an area. For example, a single-family home-filled suburb or rural area is very low density. If you are dropped off here without a car, you are guaranteed to be doing some walking unless you are lucky enough to be close to your destination. Medium density is things such as small apartment complexes, strip malls, or just anywhere where a single plot isn't dedicated to one home or business. High-density areas are places such as downtowns, major apartment complexes, office buildings, skyscrapers, malls, etc. These are the best for transit to be built next to because of exactly what you think. The more places to work, live, or partake in recreational activities near transit, the more likely people will use it, because they don't have to walk miles to their destination or make tons of lengthy transfers. In terms of WeGo Star, only one station is in a high-density area, that being the Riverfront station in downtown Nashville. Other than that, all stations are in borderline rural suburbs, and even stations like Lebanon or Mount Juliet are either far from major development or don't boast too much development in the first place. This is the real nail on the coffin for WeGo Star. When your service is already less convenient than driving in almost every category, and it is most likely nowhere near where people live, that's a recipe for low ridership and some serious underperforming. Back to the tracks, downtown Nashville is now in sight as we see two more trains here at the Fessler's Lane Railroad crossing. First up is an inbound train with 795 at the lead. Next, we have an inbound train with Loco 122 at the lead. And now, finally, we make it to Riverfront Station in downtown Nashville. Here we see Loco 122 making its departure, beginning its 1-hour journey to Lebanon, and ending off our video. So, that was WeGo Star, America's least ridden conventional commuter line. How could this service be fixed? Well, it's simple to say, but difficult to pull off. All of the stations around the line would have to be seriously redeveloped to make it so people actually live near, work near, or hang out near WeGo Star stations. After that, the right-of-way would have to be straightened out as much as possible, and preferably double-tracked in places to allow for more service. Then, after that, the service would need new equipment to replace the practically ancient gallery cars and not much newer F40s. And then finally, the service would need to expand beyond its current route to cities such as Murfreesboro, Dickinson, Springfield, among many other towns nearby. Doing this would grow ridership and actually allow for the service to well serve its residents in the general Nashville area. However, judging how WeGo Star was created out of an attempt to be cheap, the likelihood of this happening is rather low, and it is much more possible that WeGo Star will soon end up alongside North Star in the grave, being replaced by extra bus service. So in theory, yes, WeGo Star can be fixed, but it would require billions of dollars and cooperation from a lot of people, which, simply put, isn't gonna happen. Not to be a downer, but I can either say it as it is or straight up lie and act like this isn't the sad reality of this service. My advice to rail fans in the area, get your footage of this service while you can, because I have a feeling WeGo Star's time is running low. But what do you think? Is WeGo Star bound for the grave, or do you think it'll soon be on its way to greatness? Say your thoughts in the comments below, and stay tuned for next episode where I'll go over North Star and see what we are really losing with that service being gone soon. Hint hint, it's going to be suspiciously similar to WeGo Star. But, as always, I was 5008 Creations, you were the viewer, and I'll see you in the future. Goodbye.